Current weather conditions show PNG could face severe drought. After much delay, relief supplies now on Manam. And day 4 of the Besta Cup heats up in Leh.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Friday's news. Madang Governor Jim Kass has welcomed Prime Minister Peter O'Neill's statement of disappointment in Madang authorities moving too slow regarding Manam relief operations. Governor Kass has also announced that a team from the Madang provincial government is currently on Manam Island distributing relief supplies.
The National Disaster Office has confirmed that a total of 50,000 kina was sent to Madang to kickstart the Manam relief operations, but the details of how and what that has been spent on is yet to be clarified.
The 50,000 are promised by the National Disaster Office through to Madang Provincial Disaster Office and to the service providers for relief supplies has another story to that, and I think the Provincial Disaster Officer has the details of that. But I believe they have already supplied relief supplies during the first round to the islands.
Manam's ward members have confirmed that a team from the Madang provincial government arrived at their shores yesterday on MV Manam with bags of 20 kilograms of rice. The ward members, on behalf of their people, have expressed their gratitudes that the provincial government is finally reacting to their situation. However, they say that if they have to prioritize what comes first in terms of their needs, it would have to be water over food. With that, they are now appealing to the government to address their water situation that has gone worse with the 2 months drought, as well as provide other rations instead of just rice. Responding to that, Governor Kass says that more supplies will reach the island in time.
As I'm speaking, we have supplied over 1,000 kilograms of rice, 20 by 1, and we'll be supplying 10 kg flours and oil to the people on the island.
Rachel Shise, National MTV News, Madang.
A nationwide crisis is developing as drought conditions start to worsen across the country. Reports coming in from all 4 regions indicate that Papua New Guinea could be facing some of the worst drought conditions in over 15 years. Waterways like the Purari and the Sipik are being affected by the dry weather. Images and information sent in from sources in the Highlands region show food gardens destroyed by frost.
These pictures sent to MTV today are just a tiny representation of what's happening throughout the country. This is in Yalibu, where extreme dry conditions have triggered frost that destroyed food gardens. According to eyewitnesses, they've seen frost for 4 days in a row. In many areas, food storage isn't a priority because food is readily available. With sudden occurrences like this affecting vast areas, large populations of people will be facing severe food shortages. The dry conditions are also a fire risk. Mount Gillowe, Papua New Guinea's second highest peak, is burning. Bushfires posing a different set of problems on their own. In the Morobe province, the Makam Valley, Menyamia, Wau and Bulolo are starting to feel the pinch. In Menyamia, students are being sent home early and government workers have been told to work half the day. The police station commander in Bulolo said yesterday families are starting to find the living conditions quite difficult. Towards the end of last year, the most active government agencies alerting Papua New Guineans about the coming drought were the National Agriculture Research Institute, NARI, and the National Weather Service. NARI was advising communities to start planning for the dry weather. Whether that information has been taken up by provincial and district authorities remains to be seen. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Leh.
Electronic copies of major policy statements from government ministers will now be made available to the public instantly. This is now possible through the new government portal and the website of the Department of Communication and Information. The portal and website will be vital platforms for effectively disseminating government development, information and promoting government policies and programs to the public.
The government portal launched today will link all government departments and agencies, including stakeholders. This portal is a centralized government information system. The occasion of the launch was attended by the Minister for Communication and Information, Jimmy Miring-Toro, Department Secretary Paulius Corney, and other staff members. Mr. Corney said the Go PNG portal and DCI website are important ICT tools that have greater potential to enhance the performance of the department to deliver its major responsibilities.
I am pleased that these services will greatly assist the department deliver its goal by ensuring that its stakeholders and beneficiaries have easy access to quality information.
Launching the portal and website, Minister Miring-Toro said that the infrastructure is a gateway to Papua New Guinea. All government information about the country can now be vetted centrally to ensure such information is accurate, correct and up to date before being posted on the portal.
The launch of this portal is timely, as many negative commentaries and views about the initiative of the government and our country are being posted on blogs and social media and portraying a bad image of government of Papua New Guinea. With this government portal, we will correct and reflect true and accurate information to the people in our country and our neighboring countries and the rest of the world.
The portal will be managed by the department. The developer is Macrotech. Representative Gregory Yeo explained that PNG is on par with the rest of the world as the portal is comparable to those in the US, Australia and India. It also has the latest security protocols. On the other hand, it is user-friendly and anyone can email questions or contact the department for any clarifications. With the portal now active, Secretary Coney urged other government departments and agencies to work together with his department to make available relevant development information for public consumption. Deli Waigeno, National MTV News.
The Department of Justice and Attorney General has officially opened a Madang provincial office. Key guests included Minister for Justice and Attorney General Ano Pala, Deputy Chief Justice Sir Gib Salika, Madang Resident Judge Justice David Cannings, Madang Governor Jim Kass, and key office holders within the department.
This Madang office, officially opened by the Department of Justice and Attorney General Minister Sir Ano Pala, will house the probation, parole, juvenile, solicitor general, public curator and the village courts and lands mediation secretariat officers.
The building and this opening of this office today also represents a very small step, but a very, very important step towards the fulfillment of the performance contract which I signed with my departmental head in the area of improved office facilities and infrastructure development to enable better and accessible legal service delivery.
The minister also announced that some of the major restructure work which his ministry is involved in the area of law and justice service delivery, is the major reform to the higher courts, where the Supreme Court will become the final court of appeal, headed by the Chief Justice and 4 or 6 other senior judges.
The current National Court will be retained as a trial court. The legislative reform work has been completed, and the constitutional amendments to effect these changes are now before Parliament.
The Madang governor, in his speech at the opening, has expressed gratitude towards having the presence of a law and justice office in the province, especially with the current rate of crime in the province.
The law and order situation here in Madang has somewhat gone bad. Crime, in particular petty crimes, have been unfortunately on the rise in the recent past. At this juncture, let me challenge the people of Madang that it is not only for the police and the provincial government to solving all these petty crimes. Suppose the community and the public at large do not make law and order their business, we will continue to have this problem.
Rachel Shise, National MTV News, Madang.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll have more stories for you when we come back. Welcome back to the news. Close to 300 students and their families gathered this morning at the IEA College of TAFE in Port Moresby to witness the college's 14th graduation ceremony. The 295 eager graduates aiming to join the PNG workforce attained certificates and diplomas in business, accounting, tourism and hospitality and information technology courses.
The International Education Agency currently has 19 colleges throughout Papua New Guinea and is looking at expanding to Mount Hagen and Kimbe. Brenton Barker, who took up post as TAFE manager in January this year, says the establishment is focused on producing quality personnel to join the PNG workforce and reach their career goals.
Papua New Guinea is growing at the moment. Okay, there's a lot of talk about the budget and all the challenges. Every country has that with their budgets and challenges. But the good thing is with GDP growth, there's a lot happening in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea needs skilled people, and we're proud to say that the organisation we represent is capable of actually developing those students and giving them the qualifications that are certified.
Fuji Xerox came on board to sponsor the Information Technology Award, which recognizes high-achieving students, such as David Philemon, son of politician and governor for Milling Bay Titus Philemon, who took out the top award. Gloria Iron and Alicia Ban, both graduates of Diploma in Information Technology Systems Administration, came second and third respectively.
I don't know, I guess the interest that I have in IT and probably the effort that I've put into studies and practicals and unnecessary assessments in this course. I think that's the really thing that really motivated me and brought me this far. And getting the awards today was really surprising, but I'm really excited.
Other sponsors who officiated at the ceremony include BSP, the Chamber of Commerce and Industry and B-Mobile Vodafone. Vanessa Knight, National MTV News.
22 Kokoda Village Court officials have undergone a week-long training facilitated by the Justice and Community Development Division of the Northern Provincial Government and funded by the Australian Government. The village court officials have now improved their capacity to deliver consistent and fair decisions for communities within Kokoda.
The village court officials were trained in models in an updated village court manual that was launched in 2014. The modules have so far been used to train more than 1,600 village court officials. The training also addresses issues affecting most vulnerable community members, such as family and sexual violence, HIV and AIDS, and in consideration for those living with disabilities. Of the 22 magistrates, 4 were female. Jean Honey, a female magistrate, describes the training as a milestone that will raise the profile and status of women village court officials significantly.
Me come out lo lessons now me work lo talk please me play no say look in this like learning this la lessons and now me play work lo o say me play start lo nar play steps now so you play mas hammer mas me work lo talk o say na me play all get a work lo share this la same talk na around so me play yet them all for merita so can work lo training so.
Adelaide Xerox Kari, National MTV News.
Apart from the focus on rice at the Nari show, other crops were also showcased that could fuel growth in the emerging agricultural small to medium enterprises, including a unique species of citrus. Participants who had stalls at the annual event showcased what they've accomplished in the last 2 years in creating a niche market for flowers and the citrus to generate revenue. They say flowers and the humble citrus have the potential to put money directly into the people's pockets.
Community-based agricultural shows like Nari's often become the stage for major corporations to promote their achievements in the sector. But there are small companies owned by Papua New Guineans who come out to give a humble snapshot of their business.
All these plants, I plant them myself. Like I do collections from outside PNG, like I go to Moresby, Hagen, Wow, Goroka to collections, my collections.
In these pictures, Terry and Manape shows have flowers that were the center of attention at the show. The florists, who are mostly self-taught and who take part in Papua New Guinea's horticulture industry that's largely unheard of, are making money.
I'm with Origin Gas and IPI building now. I'm doing the landscaping, beautification, potted plants and flower arrangement as well.
Most of the plants were collected from different locations, and the arrangement that Terrien chose has been learnt in small workshops and through experience over time. Just next door to the florists, another emerging farming crop in the agricultural sector are the citrus from Jiwaka. A small group were at the Nari show 2 days ago selling and promoting samples of oranges that could be grown in Papua New Guinea climates.
Citrus can give you 250,000 kina in the highlands, 1 hectare 1 year, and like Port Moresby can give you more than 500,000. But
fruit expert Daniel Kombuk says the fruit is high yielding and comes into production within 8 months, fetching big prices in the market.
The concept of agricultural SMEs and rural development promoted at Nari show hinges on how best Papua New Guinea's entrepreneurs who take part in the horticulture industry and those who produce and sell fruits and vegetables to markets are best empowered by the national government to take part in the economy. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3605 at the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3530, $0.4760 Australian dollars, $0.3127 euro, and 43.50 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and cocoa all closed the day higher, while copper closed lower. Palm oil and copper closed lower, while crude oil closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed at 6 points lower, the ASX closed at 5 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 6 points higher. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have some stories from overseas when we come back. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, and a chemical odor hang in the air on Thursday. Fire still burned in the thinly populated waterfront industrial district where the explosions went off, and the grim toll kept mounting. Among the 50 confirmed dead are 17 firefighters, officials said on Thursday. More than 700 people have been treated in hospitals, 71 in critical condition, according to the state-run Sinhua news outlet. Dozens of people are reported to be still missing. Authorities say more than 200 chemical specialists from the military had been sent in with detection devices. More than 1,000 firefighters have been trying to deal with the remaining fires in Xinjiang.
You can feel the raw power and sheer terror on this newly released cell phone video.
No, baby! Oh, no!
A series of catastrophic explosions ripping through warehouses, unleashing hazardous chemicals. New daytime images reveal the fiery devastation at the blast site in this Chinese port city of more than 13 million people. Huge clouds of choking toxic smoke billowing into the sky. Experts say one of the explosions was as strong as a small earthquake. This surveillance video, obtained by ABC News, shows a man standing near the entrance of a building as a wall caves in on top of him. Building shook more than 2 miles away from the source of the blasts, a waterfront industrial district in Tianjin, about 2 hours south of Beijing. Dozens are dead, including 12 firefighters and more than 500 people injured. As you walk past smashed buildings and the charred wreckage of cars, you can still smell chemicals. It's not clear exactly where hazardous materials were released into the air, but the environmental group Greenpeace is warning of a major health risk for residents who are already in shock. The desperation here evident while I was reporting live outside a hospital. Distraught survivors and security officers demanded to see the pictures on my phone. Police didn't try to stop them. This city overwhelmed by disaster and loss. The United States has reopened its embassy in Cuba for the first time in more than half a century.
Although it was reported that Fidel Castro was not happy, he said the U.S. owed Cuba for the year's trade embargo was imposed on Cuba. Both countries reached an agreement to re-establish formal diplomatic relations and open embassies in each other's capitals.
Welcome to the new embassy.
Thank you.
Words that for over a half-century, U.S. diplomats in Cuba were unable to say.
Welcome to the new embassy.
The day Cuba and the U.S. officially restored diplomatic relations, officials at the embassy greeted their colleagues with hugs and American flags. CNN was granted exclusive access to the reopening. Members of the Cuban staff marveled that the Cold War-era hostilities have been overcome.
And did you ever think you'd work here and see the change that we've seen the last 6 months?
I really never thought that I would see this in my lifetime.
The head of the embassy says he and his staff are taking part in history.
It's really a privilege to be part of all this. It's a privilege to be part of an administration that has made a courageous decision to make this change. And it's also a privilege to be able to lead this mission as it transitions from an intersection to an embassy.
That transition is more of a sprint as staff get everything ready for Secretary of State John Kerry's visit, redoing the long unused flagpole.
But they will use the Spanish feed.
Hosting an influx of foreign press and planning for every contingency.
After CMR, that anybody would want to go back to the Nacional to use the Wi-Fi there, and that Justin should still be around holding spaces.
A long list of challenges in a country where few things ever seem to go right. This is where we keep everything running. Management officer Martina Polt takes us to the basement to get a first look at the sign and the seal that will go on the entrance to the embassy. Pretty cool sign, isn't it?
What I'm walking next to is something that hasn't been seen in 54 years in Cuba. It's a sign for the U.S. Embassy in Havana.
She says reopening the embassy is the high point of her career. This is fantastic. I think there are so many Foreign Service officers that have waited to be here, and I think I'm being envied by a lot of people who say, well, this is the culmination of a lot of work by a lot of people. The work will continue until the last moment.
More time.
Nothing is left to chance. The Marines even practice raising the flag. But as the big day arrives, American diplomats say the U.S. Embassy in Havana is ready to step back into the spotlight.
Don't go away. After the break, we'll bring to you the sporting action in Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports, Day 4 of the Mamasa Regional Qualifiers of the Besta Cup. And with the finals just around the corner, teams were fighting hard for those top 4 spots. Besta Cup teams from across the region gathered at the Lay Football Grounds for a feast of football. The tournament serves as a qualifier for the National Championships next month.
Over the past 4 days, the Lay Football Grounds have played host to 15 men's and 8 women's teams who have come from as far as Maprik in the East Sepik province and from as far down south as central Morobe along the Morobe-Oro border. Roy Carmen, the chairman of the local organizing committee, believes that the heavyweights in Madang and Lay will still be in contention for the finals, but there have also been surprises, with Ngaifa beating Lahi by 1 goal to see them in contention for a top 4 finish. The women's have had no surprises. LFA meet Wiwak and Lahi face off against Madang in the regional semi-finals.
The women's competition has ended. We have decided that the top 4 have been decided. By 2 p.m. this afternoon, the semi-finals will be on. On the first semi-final, Lay will play Wiwak, and in the second semi-final at 4 o'clock, Madang will play Lahi.
With the success of the teams from outside of the Morobe province playing well, these could be signs in the developments of football in general.
Noticed a few players still don't know what their names, have to find out, and yeah, there's a few for the best and for national team, senior national team, so we'll see how they go. And been impressed with the Gaifa team, where they promoted few of PNGF elite program players. They are both, 3 of them, they are all under 17 years old, and it's been really impressive to see them in action.
Milan Miric, the national assistant coach, is also expecting good talent to flow from the other regions as well.
Yeah, last year we from East New Britain we scouted Nathan James, who was part of under-23 team in Pacific Games, and he was impressive for us. So from these regions, there are some really undiscovered talent, and we'll watch closely, and hopefully we get some other Nathan Jameses again.
The Besta Cup serves as the regional qualifiers for teams from all across the nation, and tomorrow we see the women's third and fourth as well as the grand finals, and also the big one in the afternoon, the men's grand final for the Momasa region. Jeremy Mogi, National TV Sports, Leh.
Still on soccer, it went down to extra time between WIWAC and LFA in the first of the women's semi-final of the Momasa leg of the Besta Cup in Leh. Hosts, LFA featuring internationals Megan Ganemba and Sandra Birum, found the going tough against a defensively strong WIWAC. And despite numerous chances by both sides, it was a penalty shootout that would decide the final outcome. LFA's Fidelma Watpo with a vital save to see her teams victorious 4-2 on penalties. In the second semi-final match, another grueling Leh-based association, Lahi, would meet Medang. That match also grueling. The final score 1-1, and we'll see a rematch tomorrow. To Rugby Union, after a successful campaign in the recent Pacific Nations Cup, Manu Samoa have named their final team for the 2015 Rugby World Cup. Officer Treviranis has also been named to captain the side during their campaign. Now, the team will take on the Barbarians and Wasps as lead-up fixtures to the World Cup.
Nations Cup here at Swangard Stadium in Vancouver.
The final team selected was tough. However, Manu Samoa head coach Stephen Betham named a final 31-man team for the Rugby World Cup set for next month. Officer Treviranis will captain the side, which sees the return of prop Logvai Molipola and midfielder Rayleigh Lowe. Local trio Jake Gray, Vauvau Afemai and Patrick Fa'apale have also been named. Despite coming out of retirement, veteran prop Census Johnson, along with James Johnson, halfback Pele Coley, former captain David Lemai and a number of outside back and flankers have been ruled out on injury. The team will head to England early for 2 pre-World Cup matches against the Barbarians and Wasps.
Fine!
Scholar Sengi, National MTV Sports.
And we'll have more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To Rugby League now, and while tickets have been selling like hotcakes in Port Moresby, the PNG RFL have continued their partnership with the Brian Bell companies to sell SP PNG Hunters and Kumul's merchandise. There will be 2 merchandise stalls set up on game day inside the Sir John Guy Stadium. Hunters and Kumul's merchandise are currently being sold in Port Moresby. However, they will be made available in all Brian Bell branches in major townships around the country next year.
We're getting a lot of inquiries. Again, like the tickets, PNG RFL office is not dealing in merchandising anymore. We've got into a partnership with the Brian Bell group of companies. Brian Bell will be selling all the Hunters and the Team Kumul gear from now on. They're telling us there's all the merchandise, the Team Kumul gear already on the shelves. They will have at the venue. They will have 2 stalls on both hands of the Sir John Guy Stadium selling merchandise, polos, caps, the whole lot. So for supporters that want to get out and pick up a merchandise or support a spec, it'll be available at all good Brian Bell stores and at the venue. And over the next couple of weeks, we advise that Brian Bell will roll out the entire merchandise range throughout the country.
To the NRL now, and in the most dominating performance of the season, the South Sydney Rabbitohs fired off warning shots to the rest of the NRL when they disposed of the North Queensland Cowboys 31 points to 18. In Friday night football this evening, the Broncos will face the Dragons. The Dragons will want to continue their form from last weekend, but the Broncos will be desperate to bounce back in this evening's encounter.
And they're on 28 points.
The 2014 reigning premiers have shown that they are grand final contenders, brushing aside the North Queensland Cowboys.
Here's Inglis in, he shows the ball. It'd be hard to stop. I'll tell a man he's more than hard to stop. He's gone in to score.
In a tight contest, there was nothing between both sides right from the kickoff. The first half saw great football from both teams, going into the break 12 points to 13 in favor of the Rabbits. In the second half, the Rabbits put their foot on the pedal and raced away with the match 31 points to 18.
Been able to put another kick on it. Oh, Stacks on the mill, and then it's picked up by Johnston.
Later this evening, the Broncos will go head-to-head with the sizzling Dragons, who are coming off their attacking masterclass over the Warriors last weekend.
Running at a hole, now he jinks on to Marshall, a long ball over for Hunt to catch and dive. Welcome to the...
The Dragons sit 7th on the ladder and want to continue their climb upwards as the finals approach.
Big hole, Tyson goes in.
Meanwhile, the Broncos have gone back to the drawing board following their 2 consecutive losses and will want to prove why they still deserve to sit at the top of the table. Dion Kombang, National, EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports for this evening. We'll have for you the weather details for the next 24 hours when we return.
Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather for the next 24 hours, first of all in the southern region, Port Moresby, Kerema and Popondetta, you can expect fine weather, mostly fine in Alotau and fine and windy for Daru. To the Momase region, mostly fine for Lae and Wau and fine weather for Madang, Wewak and Vanimore. To the New Guinea Islands region, fine weather expected in Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, fine and cloudy for Lorengau and brief showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, fine weather expected in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabek. And before we go, let's recap our top stories for tonight. Current weather conditions show PNG could face severe drought. After much delay, relief supplies are now on Manam Island, and day 4 of the Besta Cup heats up in Lae. And that ends today's news, Friday, the 14th of August 2015. On behalf of the EMTV News team, have a pleasant weekend. Good night.